Sometimes you just gotta believe. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Wednesday, July 1st, 2020. Today's installment of my personal canon of really important scripture passages that help us interpret the rest of Scripture takes us to another scene fairly early in Genesis, chapter 12 to be exact. There we find an otherwise unremarkable man living in what is now southern Turkey, just over the border from modern-day Syria. He had moved there with his father and his family from Ur of the Chaldees in what is probably now Iraq. There seems to be nothing about him that would qualify him for what happens next. Now the Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you, and I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you I will curse, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." Out of the blue, it seems, God calls Abram to journey to an as yet unspecified place, though, as it turns out, it is exactly where Abram's father had intended to go in the first place when he picked up his family and left Ur of the Chaldees, settling instead in Haran. There are at least two things to say here, both of which relate to why I think this passage is so important. First, God has a purpose here. It's not just about Abram and his family. Remember everything that has come before this point in Genesis? Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, the Tower of Babel, Noah and the ark. Things after the very beginning, things went from bad to worse, and God had decided to wipe out all life and start over again, keeping a small family, Noah's family, as a kind of starter set, as my friend Doug Otati says. But things don't really improve. So what's a great God to do? This time, instead of hitting the reset button, God chooses a man and sends him on a journey. So we already know that Abram's story somehow has cosmic implications. All of the early chapters of Genesis lead up to this moment. Then there's what God says to Abram. We usually focus on the promises of land and descendants. Go from your country to the land that I will show you, and I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great. But it's what follows that is the really important part. God says, "I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you I will curse, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." In case you missed it, here it is again. In you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. So the second thing to say about this passage is that God's purpose is for the whole world, not just for one segment of it. Blessing is not just for Abram and his family and his offspring. Blessing is intended through Abram for the whole world. That is truly astounding. And it certainly puts a whole different cast on the story of the Bible, doesn't it? We're accustomed to thinking in terms of God's people against the world. But what if it's not God's people versus the world, but God's people for the world? It certainly changes things. This passage is a profound reminder to me that our purpose as God's people is not to separate ourselves out and to cloister ourselves away from the world. Our purpose is the world. Now may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.